The Clippers beat the Nuggets 105-102 to tie the series one game apiece heading back to LA. And after game one, I did a video, and in it, I mentioned that Kawhi Leonard needed to have the basketball more. And he had the ball a lot more tonight. He had the ball all the time. And it seemed like every time he touched it, he found a way to put it in the basket. He was incredibly aggressive right from the jump. Whereas in that first game, it just kind of felt like he coasted a little bit more specifically through that first quarter. Tonight in the first quarter, though, comes out, doesn't miss a shot, 12 points, just boom, right off the rip. And we were off and running with Clippers basketball. And he just didn't stop. Goes into halftime, 21 points on 9 of 10 shooting. In the second half, he maintained that same level of aggressiveness that he showed in that first half. And he ended up having just an amazing night. 39 points, 15 of 19 shooting. And when people talk about basketball, we talk so much about all these different attributes of players. We talk a lot about, quickness and explosiveness and speed and all these things. And strength is mentioned, but it's never mentioned enough. Like, it is such an underrated attribute to have. Kawhi Leonard is just muscle. Like, that's all that dude is. Like, that dude's like, 8% body fat. And that strength allows him to get to his spots. And he just kind of moves guys out of the way until he gets to wherever he wants to be. And he got to his spots tonight. He didn't miss from them. I mean, this was an elite performance. This is like Toronto Raptors Kawhi Leonard that we saw tonight. And that with, some short bursts from Norman Powell, James Harden having some nice moments in there as well, allowed them to get the win. But man, Kawhi Leonard from the jump, he was the guy. Completely unlike game one. Like, game one was a lot of James Harden. James Harden took like over 20 shots. It was a lot of that, Zubac and James Harden screen and roll, which is like that's a good way for the Clippers to generate offense. But it felt like they ran it a little bit too much, and they kind of left Kawhi out. And they definitely didn't leave Kawhi Leonard out tonight. Once again, 39 points on 15 of 19 shooting. And that was the best adjustment that we saw the Clippers make. That adjustment of like Kawhi Leonard has to touch the ball way more. And that is ultimately why they won the game tonight. That paired with the fact that Nikola Jokic just wasn't good enough. He made a lot of mistakes that he normally doesn't make. And it's crazy that I just said Nikola Jokic wasn't good enough, even though he just had 26 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. But you can't turn the ball over 7 times. Can't do that. I know he's going to be thinking about that last turnover on their second to last possession where he just threw the ball right to Kawhi Leonard. Like, that was terrible. So he turns the ball over 7 times. He was 6 of 10 from the free throw line, a guy who shot, over 80% from the line this season. And it just seemed like a really weird game from him. Like he got off to a slow start. He didn't, he had less than 10 points at half, and he had 5 assists and 4 rebounds. It just kind of felt like a lackluster first half. He seemed frustrated, like he was yelling at his teammates and like on the court, like bringing the ball up the floor. He's like yelling at dudes, and he's yelling at referees. And like Jokic is really competitive. He's definitely Serbian in the way that he conducts himself sometimes, but he's usually a little more in control than what he was tonight. I feel like there were some moments where his emotions just got the best of him, and part of that is Zubac does a really good job defending him, and I'm sure that that's frustrating for a guy that kind of tends to get whatever he wants whenever he wants it on the basketball court. So he was good, just not quite good enough. Just made a few too many mistakes. Jamal Murray falls in the same camp. I thought the first 6 minutes he played in the first quarter, he was really good. Finished with 23 points, 4 of 8 from 3. The issue is he turned the basketball over 4 times, and that's too many. Like, if you're going to have the ball as much as Jamal Murray does, like, you have to make better decisions than that. With that being said, he was +5. Nikola Jokic was even, which is crazy because the Nuggets always win the Nikola Jokic minutes, and it's very rare when they're only -3 when he's off the floor, because that's what they were tonight. And if they're not going to win the Nikola Jokic minutes, then they're not going to win this series. And that's not just against the Clippers. That's against anybody. They have to win the minutes that he's on the floor, not by like 2 or 3, but like by 10. Because everyone knows that when he exits the floor, that is the opportunity to make a run, and the Clippers never took advantage of that tonight. Like, this is a game that the Nuggets are going to be kicking themselves, not only because they turned the basketball over 20 times, but they did some things well tonight that was a little abnormal for them. And part of that is they were really good when Jokic wasn't on the floor, and they were good enough when he was on the floor, which is, like I said, just not a normal characteristic of a Nuggets basketball game. The other thing that was out of the ordinary is they turn the ball over 20 times. Hard to win when you do that. Even when you do something way better than you normally do, rebound. They out-rebounded the Clippers, one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA, by 18. Like, the Nuggets are going to look back on this game and be like, turnovers, which is usually not an issue for them, just completely ruined them tonight. It did. And being uncharacteristically bad in that area might have cost them the series, because now, you got to go win a game in LA, and that's not going to be easy to do. The Clippers have like a real home court advantage now, and they threw away this game where they out-rebounded their opponent by 18 and had a really good night when Jokic was on the bench. And part of why they rebounded so well is Michael Porter Jr. had his nice little redemption game tonight. He had 15 points and 15 rebounds after not closing game one. Obviously, it ended up working out well for the Nuggets, but I just remember being at home watching Russell Westbrook shoot corner threes and just be like, I would much prefer it if it was Michael Porter Jr. taking these shots. He sadly had a bad turnover late. He wasn't the only one. And then, he ends up falling and hurting his left shoulder. They end up pulling him out with a minute and 16 seconds left, but he tried to go back in. They didn't let him. Makes sense. But if that's the version of Michael Porter Jr. that they get the rest of the way, engaged defensively, rebounding, he had 6 offensive rebounds. Like, that's an awesome night. 15 points, and not just making a bunch of threes, like getting to the rim, scoring off of the putbacks as well. Like, he was outstanding for them. And it didn't matter because Kawhi Leonard had 39 freaking points. Aaron Gordon didn't play his best game. He missed that dunk late. People are going to be talking about that. He really struggled to defend Kawhi Leonard, and that is not a fair statement at all for me to make, given just the fact that Kawhi Leonard was otherworldly tonight. But I really say that just to set it up to say this. Do not be surprised if Peyton Watson plays more in Game 3 and gets that Kawhi Leonard assignment. I thought he defended Kawhi Leonard better than Aaron Gordon did tonight. I mean, he stayed with him the whole way. He contested everything, and not like a late contest, like a legitimate hand in the face. If my arms were 4 inches longer, like, these would be block shots kind of contests. And like, you have to have that. Like, you have to have someone that you can put on Kawhi. I thought Peyton Watson defended him very well in the minutes that he got on Kawhi Leonard. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Nuggets go to that a little bit more in Game 3. Clippers need a little more out of Norman Powell. I know he had, like I said earlier, he had a couple good moments here and there where the Nuggets needed him to hit a floater. He had a big 3 late. But he's got to be better, because, like, if they have a game where, Harden's hovering around 20 and Norman Powell's hovering around 20 and Kawhi Leonard has 25 to 30, like, they're going to be so tough to beat. So need a little bit more out of him. He needs to be just a little more efficient when he shoots the ball, but I thought that the Clippers played excellent. Their defensive game plan has been really good on Jokic. They've made things super tough on him. And then you got a guy in Kawhi Leonard who can be the best player on the floor on any given night against anybody, as we saw tonight. Once again, 39 points, just an absolute clinic in how to score the basketball. Really, really impressive. Thank you for taking the time out of your night or morning to watch this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It is 1 a.m. where I'm at, trying to build this thing. Please like, please subscribe. We're doing this through the entire playoffs, so make sure you're tuned in. We got 3 great games. Tomorrow night, I will talk to you again tomorrow night after the Pacers and Bucks Game 2 is finished. Talk to you then.